Before we begin, I would like to advertise my books, Above Heaven and Dance of Frozen Death. If you like my takes on storytelling, please consider giving them a read. Links in the description. Now, on with the video.
The total number of stars in the universe is larger than all the grains of sand on all the beaches of the planet Earth.
Greetings, fellow mortals. I find the growing popularity of multiverse stories to be an interesting trend. In a lot of ways, I think that it's a fictional way of gaining a better understanding of our place in existence. It's a tool to help us understand the scope of how small we actually are. Now, I would like to clarify here, multiverse theories and branching timelines are fun. Scientifically speaking, these ideas aren't impossible. At this point, there's no way to prove that they don't exist, but there is also no way to prove that they do exist right now. It's a numbers game. It's technically possible that there are more universes. Just like it's statistically probable that there is some other form of life on a distant planet somewhere. Whether they're sentient or smarter than us is up in the air, but there probably is some strange animal creature out there. After all, we exist within infinity. It's a scope that I can't even begin to comprehend. The universe is so vast that we humans are smaller than a proton in the grand scheme of things. Not only that, our existence is constantly expanding. If you reach the edge of reality, you could theoretically just keep going. Thus, you could be expanding the universe, actively making it bigger. There isn't an end. It's not like the Earth. If you keep going left in space, you won't eventually end up back where you started. Just pondering this idea makes my brain go numb.
Forget about what that word means. There's a fire breaking out in the language, Lo.
It feels impossible to truly grasp, to understand not only our insignificance in the universe, but our actual significance as well. The fact that you are alive right now is virtually impossible. The odds are so against your existence that it theoretically should not be able to happen. Yet, here we all are. And the multiverse helps us explain the numbers problem. If there are infinite realities where every possible outcome exists, of course we're here. It had to happen at some point. Truthfully, I don't know about that. It's fun to think about, but the more romantic part of me feels like people are diminishing the miracle of existence. The fact that any of us are alive at all is a big old middle finger to an apathetic universe. I think it's beautiful. We are in fact all special because we are uncopyable snowflakes in a storm that's lasted for billions of years. And even the most nihilistic multiverse stories seem to agree with that concept. Just look at Rick and Morty. There isn't a more nihilistic show out there. Especially one with a multiverse. But the older seasons anchored our attachment to the title characters by describing them as the Rickest Rick and the Mortiest Morty. They were the ones, they were important. Our journey with them meant something, until the series decided that continuity and long stories are stupid.
Merchandise, Morty. Your only purpose in life is to buy and consume merchandise.
But even then, the writers realized how to make you care about the exact same characters in a multiverse. The Rick Lantis mix-up is the best episode in the entire show. It demonstrates how different experiences can alter people who are theoretically the same. A bunch of characters are thrown at you, and you end up caring about each of them in some way, which makes it kind of sad that I'm apathetic to the series as a whole now, because it's hard to care when the creators obviously don't want to be doing this anymore. Because good writing will make you care about anything. Just look at Everything Everywhere All at Once. That movie made me care about a chef raccoon, lesbians with literal hot dogs for fingers, and a black hole donut. All the while, I was anchored to the Evelyn that we were following. The Evelyn which eventually became the one version of all of them because we did watch her meld all possible versions of herself into one. It's almost like the absurdity of the multiverse was an allegory for overcoming depression, enjoying our simple, ordinary, insane lives, and appreciating the people who stand by us no matter what.
Really makes you think.
The simple idea that there could be another you out there might lead you to feel a wide variety of different ways. It could make you nihilistic, like nothing really matters because everything is possible. Any decision that you make doesn't count because another version of you did the opposite. It could take away what makes you feel special, like your existence doesn't actually matter. Personally, I find the idea empowering. I'm the only version of me that made the choices that I did. I'm happy with what I've done with my life so far. But another aspect of the situation could be observed in terms of loneliness. After all, how many stories are there about feeling alone in the crowd? Just sticking to movies off the top of my head, there's Her, Joker, and Taxi Driver. All those come to mind. Nothing can exemplify loneliness like standing among a large group of people and not feeling seen, heard, or understood. Such an idea can be further emphasized by multiplying that crowd by infinite universes. Of course, the exact opposite could happen too, because in alternate realities, there are more people who are just like you and could easily understand your perspective.
Stop Spider-Man. Wait, mute?
Just look at Spider-Man. How many multiverse Spider-Man movies do we have now? 3, with more on the way? That's pretty nuts to think about, especially because Spider-Man is supposed to be the everyman of comic book heroes. He's just a normal guy underneath it all. At the same time, his grief, suffering, and abilities separate him from everyone else. I think there's a reason that this character makes multiverse stories easy. Peter Parker can easily relate to other versions of himself. They're people who could empathize with his unique experiences. Someone that can understand his communication style, struggles with a double life, and give him the benefit of the doubt. And I like the themes of the idea that Spider-Man could be anyone, because that's the thing. Such connections are out there. Not everyone is going to be your friend, but there are people who will connect with you. The hard part is finding them. They're probably not going to be wearing spandex suits, unless, you go to a Pride event. Then they might, but most of the time, they just look like everyone else. Having those connections and shattering the sense of loneliness is possible. It's just that you have to take the giant risk of putting yourself in the position to be hurt, and that sucks.
Are you going to shoot me again?
In many ways, I think that multiverse stories reflect a change in the world. Even people struggling in highly developed countries have the time and ability to think about their place in the universe. Immediate death isn't around every corner nowadays, well, ignoring car accidents at least. There is quiet time to think, to realize just how small you actually are, just how big everything else is, that we're going to die and eventually be forgotten. They're not pretty thoughts. It could lead to existential crises. Is there a God? Am I actually real? What if I'm just a small part of a greater being that I can't even see? What if nothing I actually do matters? Those thoughts are reflected in our art. Multiverse stories are perfect for such concepts. That's why episodes from Futurama, Community, and even the entirety of Doctor Who resonate with people. Using the multiverse to examine our situations from the outside, we can see our own uniqueness. Our own stories. We may not be heroes of the universe, but we sure are the most significant players comparatively. We're the only known creatures to function outside of base instincts to achieve a purpose greater than ourselves. If that isn't something amazing, then I don't know what else is.
Impressive. Very nice.
Of course, this is the optimistic side of me coming out. There's also more corporate reasons for multiverse stories right now. Retcons, cameos, and tons of merchandise can be made using this storytelling device. Blending universes and timelines is an easy, if lazy, excuse to undo mistakes of the past instead of embracing them and learning from them. Comic books have been doing this for decades. It allows studios to bring in older characters and actors to please crowds, possibly replacing real storytelling devices for the sake of clapping. Plus, the amount of toys, shirts, and other merch gained from small variations in characters looks like pure dollar signs to companies. So it's not all great. As the trend continues to grow, we'll see the problems arise more and more. Just like with westerns and superhero movies, the tropes will become a problem. Oversaturation might cause us to overlook good art. But that's a problem when an aspect of storytelling works so well. It often becomes relied upon to the point that it becomes a cliche. But there are so many great stories to tell with this device. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all develops, because the multiverse is an excellent way to connect with people's sense of self. I only hope that people take the right lessons from the concept of alternate realities. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and to continue the discussion in the comment section. And please consider giving my books Above Heaven, Dance of Frozen Death, and Vows of Blood and Honor, which will be released in September, a chance. I appreciate you. Do not despair.